Hi, I am doing my speech in front of my 4.5-year-old daughter, as my husband could not be here to do it. So thank you, Dr. Santos, for letting me do this in front of my child and her be my audience. So hopefully she's receptive. All right, so my speech is going to be on what I'm pursuing in my career. So I'll go ahead and get started. When I first talked with my husband to start a family, I never thought that we would need to have to go through genetic counseling, even though my mother has PKU and I knew that my husband was a carrier due to my stepson. So I never ever thought I would ever need to go through that. There are families that do need to go through it prior to having children, as there could be something pretty darn serious. So sitting down with a genetics counselor is something that is beneficial to a family, as they can map out occurrences and all that jazz. Is kind of what it does. I'll get more into it going into that part. But out of the whole entire country, there are only about 48 colleges that even offer a master's program in genetic counseling. So it's a very competitive field to get into. And for you to get your master's in genetic counseling, you have to have a bachelor's. So I'm going from a bachelor's in psychology to help me get to my master's in genetic counseling. Cross fingers, let's hope it happens. You typically want to go for your bachelor's in social science or biology, because there's a lot of biology aspect of it, but then there's also a lot of social science too as well, because you are counseling people, you are helping them and everything else out. So it's kind of something there. Once you apply, you'll do a letter, you'll go in for an interview, because some of these colleges that you're going to, applying for are within a medical school. They kind of treat it like that in a sense. So it's a very competitive field to get into, and it's vastly growing in that time frame. So you'll get your clinicals and all that jazz, probably within it. I've read different ones and everything. I know firsthand, I've met with genetics counselors before after my daughter was born. There was one up in Boston. Her name was Lauren, and we met with her quite a few times. Every single time we would come in to, see Dr. Sweetser or meet with Katie, before she retired, our nutritionist, and then Dr. Sweetser himself. So you would meet with them. So they just, generally, it's kind of just coming out saying, hey, how you doing? And kind of walking with you, talking with you, and everything else. So you don't actually go into their office, sit down, have like an in-depth conversation. So it was kind of nice whenever you're meeting with someone, you're just having like a casual conversation, and everything. Because when you first find out that your child has a genetic condition, you have the anxiety, you have the worry, you have the emotion of like, oh my gosh, I just ruined everything. I've just given this child like a horrible life. So it's not a fun thing to do and go through. So I wanted to help other people with that, knowing that I know what it's like firsthand, and I can take that with me when I go. Genetic counselors work Monday through Friday, typical 40-hour work week. They don't work the weekends. Like I said, they work within a clinic, they work within a doctor's office. So, your caseload's going to be pretty high, considering all of the people that are coming in to see the doctors or the nutritionists, or even having a meeting with you. Now, that's just in a pediatric genetics. So there are different types of genetic counseling where people will come in prior to having birth or giving, planning out a family. So there you'll meet with them and you'll map out, the family history, and you'll meet with them, and, they'll show you kind of like, say, this person had it here, here, and here, and what would be the occurrence or the chances of it happening for a family there. It's kind of the same thing too with genetics and cardiovascular. They have them there. They also have them with breast cancer. So grandma, mom, child have it. Are there any ones further? Please, no. And what is going further up and everything. So it's kind of, in a sense, genetic counseling is a growing field, and it is going to grow exponentially in there. The median pay for it is about $84,000 to $81,000. Start, as you get better. When you're first starting out, it could be $68,000 and everything. You get the typical paid weekend, the paid holidays, the weekends off, and all that jazz. Kind of the same thing like you would have in a clinic, 2 weeks off, kind of growing as time goes on. As a work-life balance, it would be pretty easy, as I would have my daughter and my husband still being able to work and be a mother at the same time, being able to be home and be off at 5 o'clock. So that's something that I have wanted to pursue, and I hope that I get to do it. So thanks.